Welcome, Moral Gamers, back to Life and Time of Cole McGrath in inFamous 2. Let's see if this game is worth your time and moral enough for you to play. inFamous 2 starts off where inFamous 1 left off. Cole McGrath saved Empire City. Empire City should be cheery, but Kessler showed him in a vision of the future that a beast was coming. This beast would eventually destroy the world. Cole McGrath meets up with said beast and gets his butt kicked pretty hard. Cole flees to New Marais, which is essentially New Orleans. Can Cole get strong enough to defeat the beast in time? Like inFamous 1, inFamous 2 centers around a morality system. Now, players will get the option to either be the hero that everyone looks up to and loves. Jimmy, you should be more like Cole McGrath. Or they can be that malevolent dictator like Hitler. He ruined South Central. Essentially, that's what you're looking to do in inFamous 2, but it's not quite as cut and dry as the first one. Morality is no longer a major event, but it's now every little decision you make. The first morality choice you really get is whether you blow up a breaker in order to wipe out an entire camp. If you do that, you kill women and children. If you don't do that, you have to fight through all the militiamen. The choice is yours. It's the same thing as, do you want to have a kitten in a glass cage, okay? This is the scenario. It's a kitten in a glass cage. Do you release the hammer, which hits the kitten on the tail, causing the kitten pain? But you get the hammer, which means you can pound the nails in faster. Or do you keep hammering at the nails with your boot, which ultimately causes you more pain in the long run? Morality in this case is, do you want quick results or do you want slow results? The game is much harder to play if you're playing it as a good guy versus as the inFamous. According to the directors, they created two characters that would embody the good and the evil side of Cole McGrath. These are Quo and Nyx. Quo has ice powers, Nyx has fire powers. Don't read too much into it. It's a doozy. But the fact is that Quo is just more the, are you an agent of order? And Nyx is, are you the agent of chaos? Are you willing to go in, bust some skulls, cause some pain, and have a good time doing it? Or are you the one who cares more about human life? In which case, you're going to side with Quo. And at a junction in the game, you will be given one of their powers, depending on who you've been pleasing the most of the time. Have you been really good, in which case you get ice powers, or have you been super evil, in which case you get fire powers? I really hate it when a game makes you start all over again, and in inFamous 2, that's essentially what Sucker Punch is doing. Cole goes up against the beast, gets completely wiped out, drained, no longer has his abilities. So, what's he get? He has the Lightning Blast, he's got grenades, and he's got his Alpha Blast, which the Alpha Blast is a shockwave. It's good for pushing stuff back. How do you fight now? Well, Cole gets from Zeke, his best friend, an amp, which is essentially a modified cattle prod. You may see me using a katana that's actually downloadable content. Cole should have the amp that you'll see in more of the cutscenes and some of the when I'm playing the dark side. The amp allows for more interesting melee attacks, which some of them include Cole flipping the enemy, some of them include hyper smashes. It gets kind of cinematic and somewhat annoying at times. But in the grand scheme of things, they make it short enough to where it doesn't slow down combat too terribly bad. In addition to the cattle prod, Cole will get the whirlwind and a slew of other powers. These powers are all built up by completing missions, and the more missions you complete that are non-core story missions, the more side abilities you'll get. Completing, say, 6 missions will get you your sticky grenades, which was originally in the first inFamous game. I like that it's an incentive to complete more side missions, and it doesn't force players, but it recommends that players explore the world of inFamous more and more. Now, the overall question you have to be asking is inFamous 2 the right game for you? As a gamer, it tries to replicate what inFamous 1 did, story-wise, but I just didn't feel the story was as good, as compelling to continue. It also feels like they're rushing you towards the end confrontation with the beast, more so than they're actually letting you take your time. At least in inFamous 1, they did a nice build-up. However, The powers in Infamous 2 are far more amusing and far more compelling than the original Infamous, so for the power reason alone, I would give Infamous 2 a playthrough, at least a rental. So from a moral standpoint, is Infamous 2 a good game to play? Well, the question is are you playing as light side or dark side? Because the light side, the good side, is all about the preservation of life. You're going around, you're knocking out enemies, you're awarded extra points for live capture, you find people sick in the streets, so you heal them with your powers. I mean, it's all about the preservation of life and keeping people's livelihoods going. But if you're playing as the dark side, in the dark side, the evil side of Infamous, you essentially get more points for taking and sucking the soul out of people to make yourself stronger. The more brutal you are, the better, and you can go around hitting random people and get more dark side points for it. So the question is, are you playing as light side or dark side? Since you have that choice, it's more indicative of real life. In my personal opinion, I have no issue with that, mostly because my kids are more apt to play as the good guy than the bad guy. Also, another aspect to this is the game does contain some mild profanity. No strong language, just mild profanity, so that may be something to consider as well. Overall, though, I would say it's a safe game for your kids to play. Overall. I mean, you just need to take those two things into consideration.
Oh. Did forget a cape, but, come on, it's a little extreme, don't you think?